These are some Dinar Guru updates, starting off with Samson article, quote, Deputy and upcoming parliamentary hosting of the Governor of Central Bank and the Minister of Finance regarding the reduction of the exchange rate. Quote, signatures of more than 50 deputies were collected to host the Governor of the Central Bank and the Minister of Finance in the new government in order to put pressure on reducing the exchange rate, even if it was in stages or gradually. Walking stick via Frank 26, these banks, the CBI satellite banks, are in position. Their job is to pick up the remaining 3 zeros that the CBI has not been able to retrieve. It's brilliant. Not all these banks have opened, but they are opening. Walking Stick's friend already has opened theirs. They are now in position to welcome Iraqi citizens that may have 3-0 notes that they took with them because when they fled. They'll be trading them in for international rate because they're outside of Iraq. Basically, they're investors like you. All right, Pimpy is saying, I hear all the buzz. I knew this was coming. I said it was coming. I know people were saying otherwise, but if Maliki took control of the government, you could start to see increases in Iraqi Dinar. There were 2 articles today that were talking on the restoration of the exchange rate against the US dollar. The first move is going to go to the previous exchange rate. Mark Z via PDK, I'm hearing really fantastic stuff from all over the world. My contacts in Iraq are hopeful that before their day ends today, they will have a seated government. All right, Nader from the Mideast, the voting of the Prime Minister, Sudani, is not a bad thing. The world is watching. Besides Maliki, nobody in Iraq is pro-Iranian. Iran is Iran. Iraq is Iraq. After all, Sudani is not going to be bad. He's not pro-Iranian. He works for a crook, yeah, which is Maliki, yes. Sudani is not a bad guy. He's just worked or still working, maybe for a crook, which is Maliki. I think he's gonna work for the Iraqi people a lot. All right, Mountain Goat says, I have told you that the QFS, or the Quantum Financial System, has the new IQD rate within it, as well as many other currency rates. The IQD is at about $4.80 plus rate USD. This rate applies to exchanges outside of Iraq. So what is the good news then about this? It does tell us that the QFS now allows the IQD to be reinstated at the new rate, but that this has to be approved but can now be accomplished and is a reality finally. It also tells us we are extremely close. All right, Breitling question, is Warka back on board? Can we connect with them? Breitling says they are not back on board. Remember, Warka is a Sunni bank, a Sunni family. The Shia want to control it. There's a fight going on over who's going to control it. Nobody wants to destroy it. Nobody wants to get rid of it. In the end, not the institution of the Warka, but how it's going to function is still in the hand of the CBI. I have complete confidence in the CBI because that's one of the #1 banks. Nothing is about to get shut down. All right, Caparoni says, it is my opinion this is how the dinar will rise in value gradually. And in doing so, this will be the way that the zeros will slowly go away, by issuing lower denomination currency as needed as the value of the dinar increases. All right, Pimpy says, question, Pimpy, if I remember correctly, they said they had no intentions on changing the exchange rate for 5 years, but that was back in February. What has changed since February? The government, says Pimpy. Pimpy goes on to say their intentions were to stay with the white papers, do the reform. Since then, Maliki and the coordinating framework have taken control, and they're building the government right now. That whole waiting 5 years is out the door. We know this because we've seen articles within the past 2 to 3 weeks where they said they're going to change the exchange rate. We know they're going to do it, and it ain't going to be 5 years from now. All right, lastly, Samson has an article, quote, Iraq's export of its oil in the form of derivatives instead of crude. It will bring in 60% more revenues to achieve $15 billion per month. Another quote, if Iraq refines all the barrels of oil that it exports at the present time and exports them in the form of derivatives, Instead of exporting them as crude oil, Iraq's daily revenues will reach $495 million, or about $15 billion per month. But when exported as crude oil, its revenue will be approximately $297 million per day, or less than $9 billion per month.